Now, in the last lecture, we had discussed about type 1 and type 2 superconductors, in which we had seen that in type 2 superconductors, the interface energy between the superconducting and the normal region becomes negative. So the system likes to break up more and more surface area between, it tries to create a large surface area between normal and superconducting regions. And the way it does is that the superconductor creates these normal cylinders which are present, microscopic size normal cylinders which are present inside the superconductor, and this leads to the formation of vortices inside the superconductor. Okay, so which are normal regions which are threading the entire superconductor from bottom to top of the superconductor. From bottom to top of the superconductor there is a normal region which is created, and this is of course created only in the presence of a magnetic field, because it costs energy to create the superconducting to create this normal state, because the superconducting energy, free energy, is lower than that of the normal state. So you have to supply it energy to actually make it normal, and that energy comes from the magnetic field. So you always create the vortices in the presence of a magnetic field. Now let us look at this vortex structure in a little bit more details, and what does it look like. Okay, so if you apply a magnetic field in the superconductor, so the white region is all superconducting region, and of course this white region will completely expel all magnetic field from within its interior. But wherever these gray regions are present, these gray regions, these gray cylinders, are the normal regions. And here inside the normal region you can see that outside the normal region, in the superconducting region, the density of Cooper pairs is constant, but once you enter into the normal region, the density of Cooper pairs goes to zero at the two from the two edges. At the central region it is zero, and it falls over a distance xi. Okay, so the size of the Cooper of the size of the vortex core is of the order of twice of the coherence length. This is the distance over which the Cooper pair goes to zero, and the distance over which it goes to zero is of the order of xi. So the diameter of your normal vortex core region is of the order of twice of xi, the coherence length of the superconductor. Okay, so you create these normal core regions, and because these are normal core regions, the magnetic field will enter into these regions, but the magnetic field will of course be zero in these regions. So the magnetic field will be zero in these regions. In these regions B will be 0, but in these particular regions, in the normal regions, the B will be not equal to 0, because they are normal regions. The B equal to 0, the superconducting regions, are all going to expel all magnetic field from within its interior, but the B not equal to 0 regions will carry a magnetic field. Okay, and what you can see is that, so the magnetic field, that's what is plotted here, the magnetic field as a function of distance. Now whenever you are inside the vortex core, there is a finite magnetic field is present inside the vortex core, and as you go outside the vortex core, because it becomes a perfect diamagnet, the magnetic field will decay out on either ends of the vortex core. So all on ends of the vortex core, the magnetic field will decay out, and the distance over which the magnetic field will actually decay out in the superconductor is going to be your lambda, which is the coherence length. So around the vortex core, the magnetic field will decay down over a distance lambda. So if I can plot it, if this is the center of the vortex core, so let me draw it. If I have the center of the vortex core, if this is your center of the vortex core, then on either ends of the vortex core, the magnetic field will actually decay out into the superconductor over a distance which is lambda. Okay, and the size of this will be of the order of lambda. So the normal core will have a size of twice xi, and this, the magnetic field will be spread out over a distance which is much greater than xi, because lambda for type 2 superconductor is greater than xi. So the magnetic field will be spread out over a wider region. Xi, the superconducting coherence length xi, is of the order of 10 nanometers, whereas the lambda is of the order of few hundreds of nanometers in type 2 superconductors. Okay, so that helps to give the field distribution is spread out over a region which is wider than the normal core, and that is what is shown here. You can see here is that the magnetic field is distributed outside the vortex core, but it is decaying out. Okay, and because the magnetic field has to be shielded out, there are going to be diamagnetic shielding currents which are going to circulate around the vortices. Okay, so there will be diamagnetic shielding currents which will be circulating around the vortices, which you can see here very clearly. Okay, so there are these diamagnetic shielding currents which are circulating around there are these diamagnetic shielding currents. So if you see here, because the magnetic field has to be shielded around the vortex, this arrows here represent the diamagnetic shielding currents, and these diamagnetic shielding currents extend up to a distance of lambda. These diamagnetic shielding currents extend up to a distance lambda from the vortex core. Okay, and you can find out these diamagnetic shielding currents from the curl of B, and they are also given by the London's equation. Okay, so the London's equation also gives you the distribution of current density around a vortex core. Okay, so let us look at this vortex core in a little bit more details. Okay, so the vortex basically is a cylinder which is threading through the entire superconductor over a distance. The size of the vortex core is about the coherence length xi, and the magnetic field is distributed around the vortex extending into the superconductor up to a distance lambda. And since the screening current J in the superconductor, these are your screen currents J, this is proportional. The magnetic field has to be screened inside the superconductor because of screening extend up lambda inside the superconductor. Distributed screenings are also pressed up to a distance lambda. So you can think of a vortex like a whirlpool. Okay, this vortex is like a whirlpool which you create inside the water. Okay, in water, if you circulate the water, then a vortex is created where there is particles of water which are circulating around the center of the vortex. The same thing is happening here. Cooper pairs are circulating around the vortex core, trying to shield the magnetic field from the superconductor. So each vortex is like a small whirlpool that you are generating inside the superconductor, and these vortices therefore also interact. If you bring two vortices close to each other, then there is an interaction between the vortices. We will see more about this as we go along. However, let us now understand how much is the magnetic flux inside each vortex core. How much is the magnetic flux in each vortex?